Hello YouTube world, welcome to my channel. This video is a review of the Omarion and Mario Verzuz battle. Before we get into it, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now let's get started. So going into the Verzuz battle, everyone expected that Omarion would take home the trophy. Everyone automatically assumed that because he had more hits, that Omarion was going to win this Verzuz battle. No one was discounting Mario. I mean, they definitely know that Mario is definitely a contender, that he has a lot of great hits, memorable hits as well, but everyone expected that Omarion would win. Now, Verzuz is not supposed to be about who's the winner and who's the loser. It's really about two great artists with great catalogs coming together to give their fans a great show. However, it never really turns out that way. You do have some Verzuz battles where it's just a great show and it turns out that way. But then you have some like this one that can get a little extra at times. So Omarion and Mario both came into this Verzuz battle with a plan of how they were going to do things, and it appears as though Omarion came in thinking, I'm already the winner. I'm a fan favorite. Like most people were thinking, most people were automatically assuming that Omarion was going to win this Verzuz battle because he has more hits. Mario came in thinking it seemed like Mario came in thinking that most people were going to automatically give it to Omarion too. So he had a specific agenda as well. And that was to stay in his arena and dominate things his way and bring Omarion into his game because Omarion cannot play Mario's game. Mario set the tone out of the gate. Also a part of his agenda was to razzle Omarion a little bit because Omarion is known for being unbothered. So Mario, out of the gate, brought out pretend B2K members to kind of get in Omarion's head a little bit at the very beginning of the performance of the set. Omarion is not close with his bandmates, so that was definitely intended to razzle him a little bit. Definitely a tactic to get in his head. And it worked. And from there, it went from being Omarion versus Mario Verzuz battle to follow the leader. Because Mario set the tone. He set the stage. He showed up with his confidence and his presence. He knew exactly what the audience wanted, which were predominantly women. So he started to serenade the women, and Omarion started to follow suit. And you saw that Omarion was being overly sexual, and he did a lot more than he needed to. It seemed like it started to become a competition of like who could who did the ladies in the audience love the most, like who could get the most screams or the most attention from the ladies in the audience. At one point, someone threw their panties on the stage during Omarion's performance, and Omarion was bragging to Mario like, you didn't get this, did you? It was pretty interesting. But with the underwear being thrown on the stage and all of the tricks that Omarion pulled out of his bag, he brought other well-known artists out, such as Tank, Jeremiah. I believe he was supposed to bring out Summer Walker, but when he called her name, she didn't appear. And it seems as though she may have been embarrassed because at that point, Mario was completely dominating the versus battle. But with all of the tricks he pulled out of his hat, he and his brother ate watermelon on the stage to symbolize what, you know. With all of that, Mario still dominated the show. Vocally, Mario dominated. Stage performance, Mario dominated. Presence and confidence, Mario dominated the entire versus battle. Mario and his DJ, they were in sync as well. But Omarion and his DJ, which appeared to be his brother, they were having a few technical difficulties, and it showed. Omarion's music was really, really low, and you could hear more of his vocals rather than more of the music. And with Mario, at one point, you could hear more of the music rather than his vocals. But at one point, Mario asked his DJ to turn the music down so that you could clearly hear that Mario can really sing. Like, his vocals were amazing. Whereas Omarion's music was down low the entire time, except towards the end of the versus battle. And in that performance, when his music was a lot louder than his vocals, that's when his set appeared to sound a lot better, which that should have been the case the entire time. His music should have been louder than his vocals. I mean, if you're not really a vocal performer, then you need to showcase your other gifts, like showcase your strengths, not your weaknesses. And this is what I meant, and that's what I meant when I said early on that Mario set the tone and dominated and brought Omarion into his game. Because if Omarion would have just played his game rather than being lured in by Mario, which was his game was first rattle him, get in his head a little bit with bringing out the B2K members. Then, out sing him. I mean, vocally, Mario is a stronger singer and serenade the women. And so, of course, Mario played Follow the Leader, and he tried to do what Mario did. He tried to beat him at a game that he couldn't beat him in. He tried to sing with him. He tried to serenade the ladies by being over sexual. He tried to play Mario's game, but you can never win when you play someone else's game. You can only win when you play your game. And in this situation, Omarion could have won. He could have won because he had the home court advantage. He was in LA, and everyone was expecting him to win. All he had to do was show up as himself, Omarion, but he didn't do that. All Omarion had to do was outperform Mario. That is all he had to do. The women showed up to see him. They showed up to see Mario too. They all showed up to see both of them. But all he had to do was perform. Turn the music up, turn your vocals down, and perform. He was not supposed to be there to try to out-sing Mario because vocally, Mario's vocals are stronger. They both have beautiful, amazing voices, but Mario's vocals are stronger. If Omarion would have just performed, he would have outperformed him. That's all he had to do. All in all, this was a very entertaining versus battle with all of the shenanigans, even with the pre-show. But with the exchange between Omarion and Mario, with the epic fails during the performance, Omarion, when he brought out Jeremiah was supposed to help him, But he came out singing off tune. At one point, when Omarion brought Tank out, Mario stepped in between the two. First of all, he heckled both of them. Mario heckled Tank and Omarion to the point where Tank had to like step aside and say, "This could get ugly, but this is not my versus battle." But Mario stepped in between Tank and Omarion and outsang them both. It was just one little, you know, tune he did, but he again dominated the entire show. It was kind of sad. Word to the wise, when you're competing against someone, but first and foremost, you shouldn't compete against anyone but yourself. Okay? But you will at times find yourself in a competitive atmosphere. But when you do find yourself in a situation like that, always play your game. Stick to doing you. Nobody can ever or will ever do you better than you do you. When you're competing against someone, stay in your arena. The minute that they get you in their arena, it's over. It's over. Play your game. Don't play anyone else's game, because no one will ever be able to do you better than you do you. And this saying, no one will ever be able to do you better than you do you, it reminds me of one time when I was watching a Floyd Mayweather fight. And Floyd Mayweather is known as one of the greatest boxers of all time, solely off the fact that he is undefeated, and what he has been able to do with his career has never happened. And he still has his health. There was one particular fight where, everyone tries to get on Floyd's case about being a defense fighter. Like, he doesn't really get in there and really brawls. He's not a brawler. In the early part of his career, he would get in there and brawl and fight. But, when he decided to really when he really decided to prioritize his health and, focus on himself and his family and his legacy, he knew that it was more important to be a defense fighter and prioritize that over everything. So there was one fight, I don't remember who he was fighting, but he started to brawl a little bit. And he was getting hit. I think it may have been the Shane Mosley's fight, but it was a fight. And he started to get hit. When he went back to his corner, his uncle said to him, "Get back to boxing. Just box him. Outbox him." So, and that's his game. Nobody has outboxed Floyd. Like, it's proven. So that goes back to what I said. If you play your game, nobody will outdo you. Well, that is it. That's all that I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, TTYL.